This is a story of blood, execution, and the Council of Death. Welcome to the Blood Street. There are several stories on how this street actually got its name, and when you look at the history of the place, it may surprise you. We know cities had butchers and meat handlers, especially so close to the old city gates. But let's step back in time to reveal the real reasons why this is called the Blood Street. And to do that, let's begin at the Gatehouse. Sint Antoniespoort, the Gatehouse or Waag, was built here on the Nieuwmarkt in 1488, surrounded by water and the city walls, as far as this foundation stone tells us. However, it's more than likely it was built some 60 years earlier, but has undergone several modifications. Imagine it looked like a traditional castle gate guarded by the city watch, checking cargo, collecting duties and tax, offering security from opposition, its armed walls and turrets running all the way up to the Schrijverstoren, overlooking the docks at the north. The city watch, or schutterij, were an army of volunteers, a shooters guild, armed and ranked by weapon, headquartered at this gate, given privilege by the city and supported by the church. The Waag, or weighhouse, was moved from the dam square to here, used to weigh cargo and charge taxes. It was also used to determine if you were a witch or not. If you were lighter than the set of weights, you were burned. Otherwise cleared, but you had to pay for that privilege. A perfect racket. 4 other guilds occupied this gatehouse: the Blacksmiths Guild, the Painters Guild, the Masons Guild, and the Surgeons Guild. Hendrik de Keyser designed the sculpture above the Masons Guild, a name you should be familiar with by now if you've seen my other videos. The Surgeons Guild, with the inscription of Theatrum Anatomicum, were made famous in Rembrandt's painting, The Anatomy Lesson of Dr. Nicholas Tulip. Yep, Tulip. The location was also no accident. It allowed them access to fresh bodies at this site of execution, and there was no short supply. The death count here was massive. Witches, heretics, zealots, criminals, opposition were beheaded, burned alive, drowned, hung, drawn and quartered, in fact killed using any of the most gruesome of methods possible. The guild had a deal with the executioners to try and preserve the bodies as best as they could, so they can continue to experiment and practice. The bodies were fresh and plentiful. Even Napoleon installed a guillotine here during his occupation to ensure the body count remained high. The blood poured down from the Waag as it was on raised ground, on a dike, to protect the city from the sea, running downwards through the nearest street, pouring into the Bloedstraat. This is the popular theory as to why the Bloedstraat got its name. However, the blood and death doesn't stop there. Now let's investigate the Bloedstraat for more. The Bloedstraat still connects the Waag with the Ouderzijds Achterburgerwal, the heart of the Wallen and the red light district. Today it still houses many prostitute rooms, and this part actually caters towards the transgender and S&M business, as well as the usual vanilla. But in the 13th and 14th century, a Franciscan Monastery stood here. The grounds of the monastery follow the outline of the current street plan. It even had a graveyard right here that still exists under some of these houses, part of which was excavated in 2001. Remnants of the monastery can still be seen in the walls, the ground and the street names. The monastery housed what was termed as the Blood Room, a kind of medieval hospital where the sick and injured were brought, limbs hacked off and tarred, a place where the blood flowed into Bloedstraat. However, there is another theory as to why the street got its name, if that wasn't enough, and that's all thanks to the Order of St. Francis of Assisi and the Duke of Alba, who were sent to occupy this monastery and secure Amsterdam and the Low Countries on behalf of the King of Spain. They ruled with an iron fist. They were known as the Council of Blood. Anyone who didn't accept the rule and order of Spain were executed. Anyone who disobeyed the Spanish Inquisition were killed. And nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. The council occupied here, plotted and conspired to murder anyone who doesn't share their own philosophy or religion. The Waag was also used as a place to enslave Jews during the occupation of the Second World War, reflecting also on the religious concentration of previous occupiers centuries earlier. A site of the most tragic and gruesome crimes to humanity, But Amsterdam has always had a spirit and a thirst for liberal independent thinking, freedom and good working class mentality. People of Amsterdam work hard and play harder. We don't care what you believe or the colour of your skin, but only if you can pay for the beer. Whichever reason the Bloedstraat got its name, it's had a very interesting history, a place where the ghosts of Amsterdam are still clearly visible today. And this is the Bloedstraat.